attention to this item. This is a bit of an unusual item for us today for a couple of reasons. One, of course, is because we are doing it in more than one translated language, as listed. And secondly, we are asking you to take action to initiate the project. And this is a rare occurrence for us to ask the Planning Commission to do so. The Rowland Heights Community Plan was established in 1981. It is the only plan within all of our plans within the department that requires the Planning Commission to initiate an amendment to the plan for a potential project. So instead of our usual scenarios where we present a project to you after completing an entire review process, instead, this plan requires us to ask you to initiate that process before we do any sort of analysis on the application. So you may hear comments from individuals who are concerned about the project. Those comments are legitimate, but we have not addressed those comments because we have not even begun to do our own analysis. So I just wanted to make that clear. It's a very unusual action that we're presenting to you, but the Rowland Heights Community Plan does require that. Certainly, we ask for your extended patience today as we go through the multiple translation process. We do expect to have a lot of speakers who may be interested in this project. But again, we're not asking you to state your position on the project. We are just asking you to allow us to initiate the project and its analysis. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Peter Chou, who will give you the staff report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Peter Chou with the Land Division section. I'm here to present agenda item number 6, project number 2021003253. This is a request to initiate a local plan amendment to the Rowland Heights Community Plan to amend the land use designation from O, open space, to U2, urban 2, 3.3 to 6.0 dwelling units per acre, per gross acre, and U4, urban 4, 12.1 to 22 dwelling units per gross acre from 75.23 gross acres. So the applicant can apply for the development of 249 single-family residential units, 72 townhouse units, and 2 open space lots. Next slide, please. The project site is located south of the 60 freeway and Walnut Drive, along Kalima Road between Fairway Drive and Lemon Avenue within the East San Gabriel Valley planning area in the Rowland Heights community. The project site is comprised of 6 lots totaling 75.23 gross acres and is a portion of the existing 188-acre, 27-hole golf course known as Vista Golf Club. The property, next slide, please. Thank you. The property is currently designated open space. The property is named U1, urban 1, 1.1 to 3.2 dwelling units per gross acres, and U2, urban 2, 3.3 to 6.0 dwelling units per gross acre, and open space in the north, east, west, and south. There are also I industrial uses to the north, C commercial to the west, U5 urban 5 22.1 to 35.0 dwelling units per acre, and U4 urban 4 12.1 to 22.0 dwelling units per per acre, and N2 non-urban to 0.3 to 1.0 dwelling units per acre to the south and southwest. Next slide, please. This is just the aerial photo of the property. As you can see, it's the 6 lots located within this area and highlighted in red. Next slide, please. The community plan states that any amendment to the plan may only be initiated by the commission or the board. The community plan states that any such proposed amendment shall be reviewed by the planning advisory committee and at least one advertised community evening meeting to be held in Rowland Heights conducted by the applicant. If the commission initiates this application, the plan amendment application and entitlement requests will be subject to further review and scheduled as one project for future public hearing by the commission and the board. No amendment or entitlements shall become effective until it is heard by the commission and adopted by the board. Next slide, please. This public meeting was duly noted on the department website, on-site posting, and postcard notices to 924 owners within 1,000 feet radius of the project site, as well as the courtesy mailing list. The staff has received 110 emails and a petition with 640 signatures in opposition to the project. Majority of these opposition cites increase in traffic on the 60 freeway and Kalima Road, destruction of the animal habitats, reduction of open space, its burden on infrastructure, reasons not to initiate the plan amendment. Opponents also had concerns of the lack of in-person meetings and material not being in multiple languages as reasons to postpone the plan amendment initiation. 2 letters in favor of the project cited the housing crisis and the need to increase housing stock, the lack of public open space, and the high water usage of the golf course as reasons to proceed with the initiation of the plan amendment. These messages have been made public record and sent to the commission for review. In addition, 4 email messages were received after the supplemental package and will be included in the public record. Staff does not seek a decision regarding the merit of this project. Staff has not prepared any analysis or a recommendation of the project. Staff seeks only direction from the commission to commence proceeding the plan amendment application concurrently with the subject entitlement application and the preparation of the associated environmental documents. Thank you, and staff is available for any questions.
Thank you. Are there questions for staff? I have one question, and I apologize if it was something you stated and I didn't catch it. You said that part of the requirement for this was that there be at least one community meeting held in the evening. That the plan requirement.
Yes, part of the Rowland Heights community plan states that a community meeting must be held by the applicant in the evening in Rowland Heights. It does not state when that meeting needs to be held. It just needs to be held.
And has one been held?
I do not believe so.
So is that something that was required prior to the commission or the board taking this action? Do we have clarity on that? I see the director is on.
Yes, as Mr. Chou stated, the plan is silent as to when that community meeting must take place. It's my understanding that the applicant has reached out to the Rowland Heights Coordinating Council. The Rowland Heights Coordinating Council wanted to get more detailed plans before they agreed to host a community meeting. So a community meeting has not yet been held.
And Madam Chair, given that the plan is not clear as to when that meeting should be held, my interpretation would be that it could be held after the initiation of consideration, for initiation of giving planning department the authority to move forward with processing a plan amendment request.
Madam Chair, that's one of the questions I was going to ask the applicants. That's in the 4th district, so that was one of my concerns. So.
Sure. Well,
Can you hold till I hear from the applicant?
absolutely. I just wanted to clarify that point since it was in the staff report. Are there other questions for staff at this time? Okay, seeing none. Now, there is an applicant, but there isn't an applicant. I'm not quite sure how this proceeds. Ms. Tay, you can let me know.
Thank you. Yes, we do have someone signed up to speak representing the applicant. I'm not sure if County Council would like to weigh in on the time frame. Typically, it is 15 minutes for the applicant to make a presentation. And unless, I see County Council's.
Yeah, given that this is not a project, frankly, it's just a request by staff for the commissioners to consider this request. I think in this instance, the quote applicant is like any other testifier. I would recommend that we provide 3 minutes for that.
Thank you. The applicant is represented by Aaron Clark. At this time, I will swear you in. Do you swear?
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
That's okay.
Go ahead, sorry.
Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you give now before this commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please begin with your name and your comment.
Sure, my name is Aaron Clark. I work for District Court Smith and Delbeck, and I'm representing the applicant on Project Dimensions. I'd like to start, though, by allowing John Conk, who works for the applicant with the firm, to go ahead and start. We had thought mistakenly that we would get the standard 12-minute presentation, so I know we had like 3 times the amount of material to provide to you, which I think would all be very helpful if you would perhaps consider listening to his full presentation. If not, we'll cut it very short, but I'm going to cede my time right now to him so as not to waste any of his time.
Thank you. Mr. Conk?
If I can just interject really quickly, since it's not an applicant, if there are other speakers from a particular party who want to speak, they can sign up individually and speak. So rather than take all of the time up front. Thanks.
Okay, go ahead, John. Thank you, Elaine.
Can I clarify before I begin how much time we'll have? We did prepare a 12-minute presentation based on communication with staff, and we think it's important to share this information with the commission.
Again, it's, my interpretation is that you would have 3 minutes here, but if you have other people who want to then speak after you to finish the presentation, that can happen. As long as they sign up as speakers.
Okay, well, Aaron Clark would cede his time to me, and I guess George Peterson would cede his time to me as well.
Excuse me.
No, I'm sorry, we're not ceding time. So each one of you can speak for 3 minutes, and we're wasting time with this conversation.
Exactly.
So can you just proceed with your 3 minutes, please, and then we'll move to the next speaker.
And Madam Chair, I'd like to just swear Mr. Conk in. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you give now before this commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. You may begin.
The slide you see now is a photo of the entire Royal Vista golf course, shaded in green, outlined in white. It's 156 acres, and it's a 27-hole golf course. For those of you who aren't golfers, most golf courses are 18 holes. This golf course is 27 holes. Next slide, please. The area shaded in white on this next slide Yes. Is the 75 acres of our proposed Royal Vista residential project. This includes the eastern portion of the golf course on the north side of Colima and also the south side of Colima. And I'd like to point out that the area shaded in green is the remainder of the golf course, which is not a part of our project. And this green area includes the golf course clubhouse, parking lot, and additional golf holes. Next slide. The golf course was developed back in the early 60s when multiple landowners got together and entered into a 55-year land lease agreement to construct and operate a golf course on their combined individual properties. And the multiple colors you see on these 14 parcels indicate the varying ownership of the land that makes up the golf course. The agreement to operate the golf course has since expired, and the parties did not come to an agreement to extend or modify this agreement to continue the golf course operation. The golf course is now operated on a month-to-month basis, and any one of the 4 landowners could give 30-day notice to stop this golf course operation. We've purchased the property shown in red, and we are in escrow to purchase the property shown in blue. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Then we'll go one more. This aerial zooms in on our 75 acres, and next slide, please. This slide shows our conceptual land use plan. There are about 125 homes adjacent to our property that are existing. About 37 of those homes are actually surrounding the proposed 5.75 acre public park on the lot we call Lot 4. And another 17 homes are around the area Lot 6 public park that is proposed down at the bottom of the slide. The remaining 71 homes that are existing are adjacent to proposed Paseo recreational trails, which is shown in light green. And these areas will have approximately 2 miles of publicly accessible walking, hiking, and biking trails. These recreational trails also provide a significant buffer, averaging about 75 feet between existing single-family homes and the proposed single-family homes. As staff mentioned, we're proposing 259 single-family detached 2-story homes on 5,000 square foot lots. And we are also proposing, adjacent to East Walnut Drive South, a 3-story townhome development of 72 units, which will include an affordable component consistent with the county's inclusionary ordinance. Next slide, please. Let's skip a few slides. Let's go down to slide 13, please. The slide 13 will show what the proposed homes could look like in the single-family detached 2-story area, right here, and the next slide. And let's skip to the next slide, which shows the Lot 3 proposed townhomes. Let's go to the next slide, please. And the next slide. This is the Rowland Heights Community General Plan document, and I think it's important to note that the document was prepared and adopted to guide and manage future development in Rowland Heights, so that reasonable growth can be accommodated within Rowland Heights and that the character community is preserved. It's our opinion that this proposed project is consistent with the policies and goals outlined in the document, and you see some of them on this slide here, and I'll just mention a few of them, which are very important. Maintaining the rural atmosphere of the community, maintaining the single-family character of the community, and then the last one at the bottom, expanding recreational facilities, including parks, hiking trails, and bikeways. Our proposed project far exceeds the required acreage for public parkland dedication, and our proposed recreational trails provide more than 2 miles of walking and hiking and biking opportunities. Next slide, please. Next slide. Yes. This is the proposed land use plan that's part of the Rowland Heights Community General Plan, and our project area is circled in red. Next slide, please. You can see that in that plan, 2 proposed parks were shown on the current golf course property, and that's exactly what our project is proposing. Next slide. You can see the 2 circles on top of the golf course property, and you can see that they were envisioned as future parks. Back in February of this year, we met with the Rowland Heights Community Coordinating Council Executive Committee, and we presented this same information to them that has been presented to you this morning. We asked that the Executive Committee allow us to meet with their entire council at their March or April meeting to present the project to them. We were told that the committee wanted to see final plans before we could meet with their entire council. We suggested that in our experience, the right time to start the public outreach process is early in the conceptual design process to get comments from the community, to answer their questions, and to start a dialogue. We told them that when the designs are final, it is too late to start having those conversations. The time for community input is now, and we plan to begin that dialogue immediately with the community and continue that dialogue throughout the process. We request this morning that you move to initiate the plan amendment process so that we can go out to the community and begin studying the impacts of this proposed project, and we are here to answer your questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can we call the next speaker, please?
Yes, the next speaker is Mary Price. Do you swear or affirm under penalty?
I'm sorry, Ms. Tay, did the applicant have more members from their team who wish to sign up to speak?
They have not signed up to speak yet.
Okay. I'm only asking, I know Commissioner Moon said he had questions for the applicant, so I'm not sure if he wanted to ask them now or wait until we hear from the remaining members of the public.
No, I want to ask him now.
Thank you.
Mr. Clark, are you there? Mr. Clark?
Yeah.
You there?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm having IT problems. I'm not
No
very
problem.
savvy. I'm here, sir. Thank you.
You
Okay.
need to be sworn in as well.
You just want, okay, I have about 5 questions. I'm gonna start with the first one. Of the two, have you sworn, you've been sworn in?
Yes, Commissioner Moon, excuse me. Yes, let me swear in Mr. Clark, and then if you would like to proceed with your questions.
Go
Thank
right
you.
ahead.
You swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you give now before this commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Thank you.
Thank you.
The first question I have is regarding affordability. Of the 249 single-family homes and the 72 condos, what's the affordability out there? Extreme, how many percentage? Extremely low income, very low income, moderate income, what are they?
Sir, we're performing that analysis now. Pursuant to the inclusionary ordinance, they're required, because these are for sale products, so it's a little different than your standard rental product. And in that way, we're meeting the ordinance's requirement for moderate income for sale housing on the condominium townhome portion of the site.
Okay, the second question, of those 110 emails that we received, just about everyone was talking about increased traffic, especially along the Lima Road. How do you plan on addressing that?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question. And just by way of background, I'm not frankly surprised that we received so many letters of concern. We intend to conduct a robust, comprehensive environmental review that would be reflected in the environmental impact report. We're going to do a traffic study that's going to be reviewed and analyzed by the Traffic Mobility and Safety Division of your County Department of Public Works. We're going to do multiple outreach meetings to the public. I mean, one thing that Mr. Conk said, which is important to note, is that this is really day one. It's an unusual circumstance that we find ourselves in. As the director said, all we're asking for now is kind of move past go approvals, not even approval, but direction, so that we can then prepare all the reports, the outreach to the community, have meetings with them, so that they better understand the project. And so traffic, biota, the full suite of environmental impacts will be thoughtfully reviewed in the EIR, which the public, of course, is going to be able to review and comment on. What's not happening today is any kind of approval. I just want the public to understand that we're going to come to the public and explain the project once we've got the green light to go forward with our application. So certainly this will be a daylighted project. It'll be a transparent process, and we look forward to meeting with the community as soon as you give your staff direction to move forward.
Okay, next question, wildlife habitat on the golf course. How do you want to address that?
Yes, sir. We're going to address that through a full biological study that will assess both the animals and the plants to see whether there's any need for protection and mitigation with respect to what we're proposing. And that will be, again, a chapter, a robust chapter in the environmental impact report, which will be released to the public for review and comment.
And the green trail, how are they going to assess those green trails?
Well, that's a really cool part of the project. I mean, today you have a private golf course that frankly is failing, meaning it could go out of business. And what we want to do is repurpose that golf course with housing, parks, and trails. And so rather than have this golf course that is now largely off limits to the public, we're actually going to open it up to the public, meaning the public trail system and the public parks is going to be a major enhancement. Now, the folks that may be concerned about the project don't even know that yet, and that's why they're concerned, and that's why they've submitted numerous comments to you. And so once we have the time to get in front of them, explain the project, explain the trails, the parks, and how we're going to mitigate the project's impacts in accordance with CEQA and the county guidelines, I think they'll feel better. And so we really look forward to doing that.
And there's two parks. There's one large park and one small park. Are they going to connect together?
They're separate parks. They will be turned over to the County Department of Parks and Recreation. We're going to be working very closely with the County Department of Parks and Recreation in designing those parks. And moreover, what a great opportunity to allow the community to come in and tell us what they'd like to see, frankly, as part of that back and forth we're going to have with the community after today, hopefully. And so it's going to be an iterative process where we work both with the County Department of Parks and Rec and with the community to try to design something that's going to be wonderful for the community with respect to its parks. So we're excited about that.
Commissioner Moon, this is John Conk again. If I could interject, I could mention that the parks will be connected with the...
Excuse me, John.
Yes.
I'm sorry, John. That we're not going to entertain that.
Okay.
Mr. Moon, do you have any more questions?
I have one more question. At the beginning of that, the chair was talking about community meetings. You going to have more than one community meeting?
Yes, sir. I mean, we'll meet. Of course, we'll meet with the Rowland Heights Coordinating Council, as John Conk mentioned. We've already attempted to do so. I think there was some concern that meeting be held in person, which is a bit curious. I mean, we're happy to do it in person, but with the Delta variant spreading the way it is, perhaps a more prudent approach would be to do it virtually. We can do that without raising any cause for alarm or health risk. This commission's operated very successfully over the last year and a half in that manner. So that's one thing that's kind of held up the process, but certainly we're going to meet with the community multiple times throughout this process. Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you for answering my question. That's it.
Madam Chair, I'd like to ask a question of the director, and I'd like to ask a follow-up question of legal counsel.
Of course.
I think the director indicated how unusual this request is. Quite frankly, I think we're getting too deep into a project before we even start allowing this action to even commence. And I want to make certain from the standpoint of staff on Ms. Bodick and also from the standpoint legally, if we believe before we initiate this process that there's even a legal opportunity for development on a golf course. Have there been disclosures over time, and understand this 55-year period, that people have bought homes next to a golf course with the assumption they're going to live next to a golf course, often paying premiums, etc. So before we embark on this, I really want to make sure that the county is on solid grounds. If we were to look at a project that's going to completely change this local environment, that it's within the possibility of our approval, because there has not been enough community input at this point. And I don't want to focus on a project and have people talking about what the project's going to look like or the other pieces if there's not ultimately something that can be achieved. And I think that's the reason we've had petitions signed by 600 people. We've got, at one point, we had over 200 people participating in this meeting, and we can spend a lot of time having conversations about a project. I think it's really the project we shouldn't be looking at yet. It's the opportunity to get into, we even want to open the possibility of that. So I'd like to hear a little bit more from staff, including Ms. Bodick and county council.
Certainly.
You know, under the law, frankly, you're not entitled to, there never to be a zone change with respect to neighboring property or a plan amendment with respect to neighboring property. It is always within the discretion of local jurisdictions to make those changes. Certainly one does their due diligence to look to see what's next to them, but frankly, that doesn't mean it won't change.
How many minutes are we gonna allow for each speaker?
Well, I was planning to allow 3 minutes as we usually do, but if you would like us to limit it to 2 minutes, we can do that.
Yes, I would, 2 minutes.
Okay, I think that's appropriate. Unless there's further questions, I think we're ready to continue with public comment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The next speaker is Mary Price. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you give now before this commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Please begin with your name, and you have 2 minutes.
Before you begin, just so it's clear to all the speakers, we are limiting testimony to 2 minutes. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. My name is Mary Price. I reside on the south side of the golf course. My address is 20043 Emerald Meadow Drive, and I've been a resident here for 25 plus years. I just want to quickly brought forward the one of the documents that we have located or found during our search, and the document number is 2533, and is a declaration made on the 26th days of December 1961, and it was recorded by the county on December 29, 1961 at 8 a.m. by Ray Lee, county recorder. In this document, it's saying that it seems like it's a restriction for the land to be changed to other uses, but beside the golf course only. And say that all the parcel and portion of the said property shall be held, transferred, sold, and or conveyed by the parent or by it contracted to be sold subject to the condition and restriction in this declaration set forth. Each and all, if which is and for the benefit of said property and of the surrounding property, now owned by the declarant, and of the property now owned by Helena M. Airy, which is the Airy family that was brought forward, and by Andre Moynier, which is the property that the new developer that's trying to develop their land and close escrow in April, which is contiguous on the west of the property, which is the subject of this declaration, and of any of all persons who may become members and operator of proposed Willow Spring Golf, and I think that's the name back then, I'm not sure. So, and it's go forth, and then if you go down to the last page of the article 3, it say all of the conditions and restrictions set forth in this declaration shall run with the land and continue to be in full force and effect until January 31st, 2016, and shall and then in force be continued automatically and without further notice from that time for a period of 20 years. And then,
yes. Your time has expired, but I would like to ask you to please submit that document to our staff for their review.
I did, but it's not included. I submitted that yesterday to Peter, but the email was not confirmed. I will resubmit again. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you so much. Can we call the
I'm
next?
sorry, this is Peter here. I received that email. She does not need to resubmit it. I will be posting that to the public record.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Nat Apihunpunyakic. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you give now before this commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Mr. Apihunpunyakic?
I'm sorry, I was on mute.
Okay, great. If you can please respond to the swearing in and then begin with your name and you have 2 minutes.
Sure. Thank you very much. My name is Nath Apicant-Miyaki, and yes, all matters that I'm speaking about is the truth and nothing but the truth. So thank you very much, Madam Chair, Vice Chair Duarte Moon, Commissioners Louie Moon and Modugno. Just wanted to imagine that your local golf courses in and around your areas in your district who are actually a vibrant golf course. Royal Vista is actually a very vibrant golf course. There are hundreds of patrons every day coming to the golf course, playing golf course. On the weekends, there's usually a lot of celebrations, including bar mitzvah, quinceanera, and life-changing milestones that are celebrated by not only the residents in the community, but also throughout Southern California as well. So it is in Commissioner's Rooms, District 4, and Supervisor Hunt's District 4. We believe that we don't want to have the commissioners initiate this plan, since it is a very vibrant golf course. And also, to Mary's point just now, that there are documents in place that has restrictions, that is a recorded LA County document that have restrictions in place that, frankly, the applicant did not even address or provided that to the regional planning commissioners. So I hereby appoint the commissioners to not initiate the review process, and I believe the entire community is on board with that. So I will keep my statement really brief, just because we're, again, talking about the initiation of the process and not the project itself. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we call the next speaker?
Yes. Charles Lee, you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you give now before this commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Please begin with your name and you have 2 minutes.
My name is Charles Lee. I live on 20527 Lake Canyon Drive, Walnut. We just lived, my home is just a few 100 feet away from the golf course. We enjoyed the golf course as a de facto recreational space, and we also enjoyed the pride and peace here for 10 years, raising up our children to school and graduate. Now, this plan amendment proposal is going to change everything that we have here for past decade or so. And I completely oppose to the initiation of this plan amendment. The reasons are that we have already heard evidences about the use of this place proposed by the restrictions forwarded by Mary, and there's a restriction on the deeds, and also there are the goals of this the applicant just showed us, and also a number of questions has been raised. It looks like that the applicant's representative is not trying to convince us at all. First of all, they did not bring anything in mind to come to this meeting except for some kind of profits they are going to make. They have no regard for low-income traffic, congestion alleviation, and habitats for the animals, green trails. How can they provide better green trails by taking out only 7 acres for public use out of the 75 acres they want to develop? And also, they have no plans at all regarding the design of the parks, and just say we want to communicate with your residents, and then we are going to design something that they want. No, we don't. We want to keep it as it is. This is a rural area that we want to preserve per the goals of this plan. And the applicant's representative didn't even try to convince the residents that this project is going to be detrimental to the residents on this land, residents to
Later,
the environment? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can we call the next speaker?
Yes, Sonny, do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you give now before this commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please begin with your name, and you have 2 minutes.
My name is Sonny Du. I live on the north side of the golf course. My backyard is adjacent to the golf course. Let's talk about the process first. The reason that we demand a in-person meeting with the community is because that, again, that this has been known with a lot of minority reside in this area, and many of them are senior citizens. It is impossible for them to attend meeting virtually. Just look at, in the past hour, how many technical glitches that we have, and times 10 for those seniors. We are not convinced, and we've been told that there will be a project. Having those residents purchase their homes and their beloved land without any, it's more of a, we've been instructed to accept this, which is, this is not a really proper process to do. Given that the county planning office has passed about 900 postcards, and doing the math, we will have 300 homes, and each household will, assuming it will be a 3-person or 4-person household, that's an additional 1,000 residents within this geographic area. What about the sheriff? Last week, I want to say 2 weeks ago, that we in the community, we have a residents calling sheriff for emergency, and that the sheriff has been delayed for 20 minutes. Imagine the population doubles if the project has been approved. Then delay of the sheriff. We talk about public safety, and there will be a decent letter from firefighter. It's not a news that they all overwork, overtime, and everybody's on stretch. Imagine that they will be adding a lot of risk to this community. Like Mary said, like Matt said, like Charles said, that the zoning change for this golf course is questionable, has been previously protected.
Sir, I'm sorry, but your time has expired. Thank you. Can we call the next speaker?
Yes, Linda Kuo. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you give now before this commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please begin with your name, and you have 2 minutes.
My name is Linda Ko, and I'm a resident of Rowland Heights. I'm opposed to this project, and specifically, I would like to address the housing crisis issue in relation to this development. This development does not address the housing crisis or the affordable housing issue. The developer is proposing 249 single-family homes ranging from 2,800 square feet to 3,200 square feet, 5 to 6 bedroom on 500 square foot lot. The asking price for these homes will most likely range between $1.3 million to $1.6 million based on comparable sales data. These single-family homes are obviously not affordable housing. Building single-family homes are not the solution to the housing crisis that we are experiencing. Now, the proposed townhouses are smaller. They range from 1,100 to 1,600 square feet, 2 to 4 bedroom, and the estimated asking price is $600,000 to $800,000, also based on recent sales comparable. The definition of affordable housing is, which is defined affordable to those with a household income at or below the median household income. The median household income for Rowland Heights is $75,000. That means the general rules that you could afford a house 3 to 4 times your salary. Now, if you make $75,000 a year, you could afford a house in the $225,000 to $300,000 range. This affordability range is nowhere near the asking price of these proposed townhomes. Based on this analysis, these are not affordable homes for the residents of Rowland Heights to purchase. Therefore, I strongly urge the Planning Commission to deny the land use change. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we call the next speaker?
Yes, Ashraf Jafwani. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you give now before this commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Thank you very much. Good morning to all. And once again, thank you all to the Commissioner. I have been residents of Diamond Bar, Walnut, Rowland Heights since 1978. I have raised 3 children. Now I have 2 grandchildren, and I'm expecting 2 more grandchildren in the next couple of months. I live on 1460 Fairlands Drive, which is east of proposed project. My backyard is not adjacent to the golf course. I do not have the golf course view. However, I vehemently oppose this proposal to develop any kind of residential or any kind of development in the golf course area for simple reason. And I will just go through, and I want to thank Commissioner Moon for really enunciated the 6 points about affordable homes and so on and so forth. As the previous speaker mentioned, these homes will not be affordable homes, period. There is no way of sweetening this thing at all. Number 2, traffic. As I said, I've lived in this area since 1978, and I guarantee you, if you go on Azusa and Colima all the way down to Diamond Bar and Golden Spring, Colima turns into Golden Spring, the traffic is bumper to bumper during the traffic rush hours. During the emergencies, it is almost impossible to get through. When there is a traffic jam on 60 freeway, which run parallels to the Colima Road, all the traffic funnels through Golden Spring Colima Road, and traffic is backed up in miles. Just adding another 300 plus homes, you're adding another 1,000 cars every day, which will further burden the infrastructure. As far as the community resources, adding 300 plus homes will add more burden on school resources, law enforcement. Recently, there was an incident in my neighborhood where I called the sheriff department, and the sheriff department says, Mr. Jackwani, we cannot help you at this time. Our police officers are inundated with other calls in other areas. And they recommend that we just take information, people that were harassing us in the neighborhood.
Sir, I'm sorry, but your time has expired. Thank you. Can we call the next speaker, please?
Yes, Peter Lee. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you give now before this commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Please begin with your name, and you have 2 minutes.
Good morning, Commissioner and Chairperson. My name is Peter Lee. I live in 1644 Chapel Hill Drive, which is right next to the golf course. When I purchased the house 10 years ago, we chose the house due to the open area and to grow my children. However, I believe not, I have several points I have to make. So first of all, traffic. Everybody say that traffic due to development. We already have heavy traffic due to the business project at 57 and 60 since 2019. So the traffic is real bad around Grand, Colinas, and so. And if the projects do approve, the development will have a serious environmental impact to all of the residents here. While they're building that 321 houses or condos in our area, the noise and dust will seriously impact the health of our residents. And if they say that these houses are built for to relieve housing crisis, just like previous speakers, they're not. The housing project that we have in Shepherd Hill, they cost $1.4 million average, and they are only for wealthy people, not solving the housing crisis. Privacy issues also a main concern. Our residents has open backyard, and they're going to build 2 storage buildings right next to us. What privacy do we have? And if a golf course is a lost cause, why can the county consider other proposal other than selling it to a developer to redevelop the golf course? The business is good here. I look at so many people passing by, and if they said that the business, they cannot do business as a golf course, it's an excuse. COVID-19 is not going away anytime soon, and is it wise to build more condensed house around us? Last concern. our residents are not even aware about this development. Only 920 cars are sent. We have more than 920 residents affected by this proposal. So we would like to have more way to connect them, and also we would like to do it in person instead of Zoom, since so many senior residents are missing the opportunity to express their view. And we are requesting to do this in person. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's call the next speaker.
Thank you. Wanda Yuling. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you give now before this commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Please begin with your name, and you have 2 minutes.
My name is Wanda Yuling. We bought our home in the Royal Vista neighborhood 42 years ago, as it was adjacent to the open space of the golf course. The loss of a natural environment is of most concern to us. There are a minimum of 300 trees on the portion of the golf course proposed for development, many of which are mature specimens over 50 years old, including the California sycamore and native oaks. Very few mature trees will remain with the construction of 249 houses on small 5,000 square foot lots. These trees that have lived for half a century will lose their lives to the chainsaws and bulldozers. In the trees, we see and hear great horned owls, barn owls, hawks, and migrating Canadian geese stopping to rest on their path northward. The noise of development will disturb these birds and destroy their homes. Our neighborhood homes welcome the cliff and barn swallows who build their nests with 1,000 mud pellets using mud gathered from the 3 golf course streams indicated on the USGS topo maps as blue lines. Swallows prefer nesting areas with bodies of water nearby and would no longer travel through this area if development occurs. Swallows are protected under the Migratory Bird Treaty Act of 1918. An added benefit to having swallows in our community is their diet. The insects that we consider pesky, especially mosquitoes, gnats, and flying termites. The Pointy Hills significant ecological area lies about 1.2 miles south of the project. We have seen possums, raccoons, skunks, coyotes, cottontail rabbits, frogs, and foxes on the golf course. These animals use the golf course as a safe corridor to the undeveloped areas of the Pointy Hills SEA, so we request that the golf course open space is kept as is. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's call the next speaker.
Thank you. Cynthia Ortiz. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you give now before this commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please speak with your name, and you have 2 minutes.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Cynthia. I am a resident in Diamond Bar. I lived there for about 5 years. One of the biggest concerns that I have is that not even a quarter of a mile away, an area that once was a creek close to South Point Middle School was developed on. And they threw out the same great quotes of we're going to make it beautiful and we're going to provide affordable housing. One, those houses couldn't sell because they were over $1 million, those condos. Not only that, but because of that them developing caused for coyotes and all these other animals that rely on that area to kind of find sanctuary in our backyards. And right now I know that a lot of the animals use the golf course as a sanctuary, and we should preserve that because we're kicking them out of everywhere that they could literally live. Not only that, but we have the 60 freeway. We're right adjacent to the 60 freeway. That area that they want to develop not only has 300 trees, but it is detrimental to our health. We need that there. We need urban greening space. If you look at the map, that whole area, a lot of it's developed. What are we gonna, how are we preserving or helping to keep people healthy if we're minimizing certain environmental aspects that help keep our ecosystem going and healthy? And that includes protecting birds, animals. We are all a part of this system that we need to preserve, and it is crucial that we keep those trees there, that we keep the golf course, because that urban greening area is what allows us to have clean air and all, mitigates all these fumes and toxic particulate matter that we deal with from the freeway. So I would request that you guys not even consider allowing this to go on for those very reasons. And yeah, it's going to stress out the resources at schools. It's just, for capitalism, it's not worth it. And this is what it is. Let's just call it what it is. Slapping a trail around it and two small
Ma'am, your time has expired. Thank you. Can we call the next speaker?
Yes, Beatric Lau. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you give now before this commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Please begin with your name, and you have 2 minutes.
Good morning, commissioners and the panels. I just want to make it short, is that I think it is very important for the staff to consider whether there is a pros for this so-called not turning the project but to initiate this, to spend the taxpayers' money to consider this while there's no pros that can be actually brought up in this whole hearing. Then I think there's a concern. I do not live close by this property. I do not see the greens. However, I do know that the Rowland High School used this as the home golf course. And the Rowland High School District Recreation Department also used this as a facility for the youth program. By taking away the golf course, you would take away all the recreation facilities for the youth community, not just within the 1,000 feet of the neighborhood. And further to that is, in this whole community using this as a golf course is including Rowland Heights, Hacienda Heights, Warner, Diamond Bar, all these Southern California, is more than impact 200,000 population. And further to, and also to that is that for the applicant to mention about the 2 little park that is in the consideration of this proposed development, there is a Rowland High Park that is right 3 minutes walking distance from it, that is already with 2 tennis golf courses and a community where summer program is being hosted there. Library was also being used as a facility during the summer program. So those developments will not offset the carbon footprints that development will have impacted to this whole neighborhood and also to the whole environment. And so I want to consider is that for the staff to consider this as once in a lifetime opportunity. I do not see what opportunity that is going to bring to this community. Hence, it is very important is that if the staff can bring up the pros of this consideration before they consider the initiation of this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's call the next speaker.
Thank you. Susan Trouts. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you give now before this commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Please begin with your name and you have 2 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Susan Krause. I would like to speak to future public meetings and hopes that changes can be made to both the public meeting format, frequency of meetings, and community outreach. Thank you to Mr. Chou for listening to our request for interlocution at this meeting. We appreciate it. Mr. Conk, the developer, here and as quoted in the Sandy Valley Tribune, understands the importance of the outreach where he develops land. His intent was to engage the public early in the process. Mr. Chou, the planner, followed protocol to promote, to provide notice to the community. We thank them both for their efforts. However, online meetings and the established protocol do not work in this diverse community. And I think we can all agree that COVID-19 drastically impacted the lives and plans of everyone. This process was disrupted as well. If the intent is to engage the community and learn the community's concerns, it is best to meet people where they are. As a teacher in this community for 23 years, I would like to share some insight as to what works best at engaging our neighbors. We taught in multiple languages. I have had years where 11 languages were represented in my classroom. And that represents the community. Meeting formats and times that work for the community. Some community members may not be comfortable using their voice in settings in which they are not comfortable. They feel strongly that they benefit from a liaison who understands their culture, speaks their language, and can help them navigate this process. I have used Zoom daily for over 180 days, Still, this format is new to me. Imagine what it is like for community members who do not have familiarity with online platforms, interpretations and translations in multiple languages. Any written communication of signage should be written in the languages represented in the community. From the start, I believe it important to listen to all community voices, whether for or against this development. Community speak. We can only...
Ma'am, I'm sorry, your time has expired. Can we call the next speaker, please?
Yes, Natalie Moreno. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you give now before this commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please begin with your name and you have 2 minutes.
My name is Natalie Moreno. I was born in Rowland Heights. I've been a resident there for 44 years. And while some of the neighbors around the proposed project were notified, not everybody in this was. In our plan, in the Rowland Heights plan, part of me is very proud that we're the only part of unincorporated county that has this, that we can come to you to say, no, don't even start this process. We, the residents, don't want this development, and it's not worth our taxpayers or the county's taxpaying money to pursue this project because there will be barriers every single way. You've heard about the traffic, you've heard about the wildlife. The 5760 expansion, once it is completed, will be obsolete. The Alameda corridor expansion has stopped. We haven't seen any construction work in unincorporated LA County and in the city of industry for almost a year. I hear that they're looking for a new contractor. So we do have this wonderful opportunity as residents of Rowland Heights to come to the zoning commission and say, no, we don't even want to entertain this. There was a project a few years back that in the same area wanted to put in apartments. I'm sure that the traffic studies are going to be worse now than they were before. I also sit on the oversight committee for the Rowland Heights and the bond for construction in the schools. One hand would be like, oh, yay, no revenue. But it's going to cause hardship on parents trying to get their kids on time when it takes them 45 minutes to go 2 miles. Also, if you're making these decisions and want to do this because of bad business, they have also affirmed that they were telling the truth, and if this does proceed, I would like for you guys to get copies of profit and loss statements for the past few years.
Ma'am, I'm sorry, your time has expired. Can we call the next speaker, please?
Yes, Ren Yuling. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you give now before this commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Thank you.
I apologize for interrupting President Chou. I'm going to have to excuse myself from the commission meeting.
Thank you very much. We'll note for the record that Commissioner Louie had to leave the meeting at 11:32. Thank you. Apologies, Ms. Ewing, you can continue.
Thank you. Good morning, commissioners. My name is Ren Yuling. I live directly south of the golf course. I would like to begin with a profound quote from the Watershed Conservation Authority. This earth needs to last hundreds of generations in the future. No amount of corporate profit now is worth the price our descendants will pay. Your decision in our favor to deny the initiation won't solve the entire world's environmental crisis, but it forever changes the world of our community. Royal Vista is a fully functioning and thriving golf course with over 300 mature trees just on the proposed site alone, which will be cut down because of this housing development and replaced with saplings not capable of producing nearly the same amount of oxygen as our 50-plus-year-old trees. Time is a valuable resource that cannot be bought. We cannot buy back the time it took these trees to grow. We speak for the trees. I urge you to research the long-term effects of this life-altering decision at the local, regional, and global level as our community has been doing. Is it sustainable to solve the housing crisis by building million-dollar units on every open space left in long-standing communities? The United Nations adopted several goals as part of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Each person on this planet holds the power to implement change. I propose that the developer look into more sustainable options, for instance, build new housing atop existing retail stores, malls, unused parking lots, empty big box stores, and especially places that are not zoned open space. With your considered and informed decision, this land can remain unaffected by future development for centuries to come. Imagine the impact this designated open space zone can have. It can thrive in many lifetimes beyond the golf course. It could be a community park with interconnecting trails to those nearby like Shawaram Park, a wildlife sanctuary, a habitat for flora and fauna, and many other possibilities. Thank you.
Thank you. May we call the next speaker? Yes, Aubre Liu. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you give now before this commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Please begin with your name, and you have 2 minutes.
My name is Aubre Liu, and I resided in 1411 Fairlands Drive, just east of the golf course. And because this is still in a very conceptual process, and we should focus on the process, so I will be really conceptual. Many of our neighbors already expressed concern about the pressure to our infrastructure and all other facilities. But let me focus on open space. When you take a look at the aerial photo, actually, this is a very well-developed and mature community. I have resided for over 33 years. So, for a very, very mature and condensed community, open space is so crucial and an integrated part of our community for all the benefits and everything, unless there are really powerful and strong enough reason. Why do we want to change it? The previous speaker, Ren, just mentioned, we cannot buy back time. And this is part of our community we should preserve. So at this stage, I strongly urge the commissioner and all the members to consider, not even start the process. So that's my key point. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can we call the next speaker? Thank you. Yes, Adelle Prince. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you give now before this commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Thank you.
Thank you. Please start with your name, and you have two minutes. Thanks.
My name is Adelle Prince. I vehemently oppose this proposal. As a resident whose home borders the Royal Vista Golf Course, I cherish the beautiful tranquil scene afforded me by this view. I daily have my coffee at the kitchen table and I look out onto the golf course and I take a peaceful respite from the daily unfolding of drama that we call life. We have lived here for over 40 years. Always, the constant in my life has been the beautiful sea outside our window. This view has blessed me with a peace and comfort amid what sometimes seems like the constant chaos. It is part of my daily existence, and it is a vital component of my well-being, something upon which no price can ever possibly be placed. When we purchased this home, the primary deciding factor was the view of the golf course. I repeat what I wrote earlier to you. Just as a view of the ocean is part of the purchase of oceanfront property, our view of the golf course is most certainly an integral part of the purchase value of these homes. Therefore, as my husband has written to you, we did not just purchase a house and a lot, but a house, a lot, and a view. As a tax-paying citizen and an active voter, I urge you to deny this plan. And as two little further things I'd just like to mention, for one thing, a virtual meeting is not better for us. I know many people who could not log on, who could not get into virtual, who are not comfortable with it. And so, no, I disagree that virtual has been a good format for these meetings. And I want to thank you very much for this ability to speak to. Thank you.
Thank you. Call the next speaker.
Prince, do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you give now before this commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Please begin with your name and your 2 minutes.
Good morning to the Commission and Commission Council. My name is Thomas Prince. I live at 1441 Fairlands in Diamond Bar and I live next to Royal Vista. I previously submitted a written objection to this commission and would expect that it will take it into consideration when making this decision. My purpose for speaking here this morning is to advise the Commission that the application submitted to the land use change has created an outcry from the outraged citizens in the area. Residents have already created flyers opposing this requested land change in English, Chinese, Korean, and Spanish for neighborhood distribution. The first of many rallies was held this weekend from the Royal Vista Golf Course, drawing attention from many passersby. We plan to future rallies at all major intersections along Bolima Road and Rowland Heights and upcoming time. We will be placing notifications to social media. Area in question is a green space for all homes living continuous all around the golf course, providing never-ending breeze, a lovely view of nature, and sizable green space, a corridor for migrating wildlife, and a setting for recreation for the community. Based on the testimony this morning by the applicant, it doesn't appear as if they've done their due diligence. They were unable to answer questions concerning traffic, unable to answer questions regarding wildlife, and refused to answer questions regarding the project itself. This appears to be a fishing expedition, in my opinion. If they can get by the initial process, then we'll go ahead and submit the proposal accordingly. I think this is not an example of how developers should work. If they would have taken a little time, they could have seen it down about 4 miles from here on the northwest corner of Grand Avenue and 62. There's a very large plot of vacant land that homes can be built on. I would suggest that this commission require the developers to be more diligent in their search for property. And I'm going to request that you deny this application. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please. Robert Harris. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you give now before this commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please begin with your name and you have 2 minutes.
My name is Robert Harris. I live on Allotment Avenue, adjacent to the proposed condo complex. That fairway that runs along Walnut Drive is the green space for a lot of people in our neighborhood after hours. People walk their dogs, just enjoy the sunset, and the condo complex will eliminate it and turn it into a concrete path. You've heard all the problems with the traffic, with 760. But besides that, we've been living in a never-ending construction project for the last decade to alleviate the congestion that we already had to begin with, and to add another 1,000 people or so, 300 homes. By the time they finish these freeways, major thoroughfares that they have shut down right now, they'll be outdated because we'll have an influx of new people. So that will just pose more construction for the future years we have here. We're tired of construction. We'd like it to be finished, and we'd like to enjoy our homes that everybody paid a lot of money for to live next to the golf course. And the virtual meeting, there are a lot of older residents that English is not their first language. English is my first language, and I had difficulty zooming into this meeting. I had to come to a neighbor to help me. So virtual meeting is not a viable plan for us. I'm sure everybody would rather put on their mask and attend a meeting in person. And I just reiterate everything everyone else has said. I had notes here and everyone has already touched on all of those.
Thank you, sir. Your time has expired.
Thank you.
Can we call the next speaker? Bina Segura, do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you give now before this commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do. My name is Bina Segura, and my backyard is the golf course. First of all, I'd like to say that I never received no letter, no email, any type of information. I'm grateful for the community coming together to let us be informed. I'd like to see that another proof or some type of letter is sent out to the community to inform them of this. We're doing our best, but I never received anything, and I wouldn't know what I know now if it wasn't for the community. My family is the original owners of this house. They bought it when it was first built, and the purpose in buying this was for the open back golf course for the view. I am an earther. I ground. I've used the backyard many times, all the time, every day. I look out my window every day. It's part of my health. I have come under extreme anxiety because of this. So this is something that is a health risk, not only to myself, but many others. So I would really highly consider them to take this under consideration because it can turn into some legal action. Also with the instruction that would be proposed to be done in this situation in my backyard, it would take away the peace, the privacy, and all of the trees, the earth, the wildlife, the habitat that is in our backyard, the oxygen, the air that we breathe because of the freeway congestion and so forth. So I'm concerned about that. It would also devalue our home. And I would like to see also concur on that about the proof of loss, for them to throw that in here as the rep said. This isn't about the loss, this is about money, plain and simple. And it would just devalue our homes. So I would really ask and urge you not to take this any further with this process. That it is, as I say, it is a health risk, not only to myself, but many people that are elderly in here and don't have a voice to communicate or speak. So I would ask you to make this an open public meeting if you do proceed further, not to do it on Zoom, so that way people can say their piece. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Ken Aromitsu, do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you give now before this commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
My name is Ken Aromitsu. We've got a little bit of a different take. We've been engaged by the landowner, so a 65-acre portion of the golf course land is not included in the proposed development. We would ask to be added to the conversation should Planning Commission approve to start the process for the following reasons. The plan would affect the viability to lease the land for golf course use, and we would ask the Planning Commission to consider this impact. And we would also like to be granted the same consideration afforded to the applicant should our ownership make a similar request of the Planning Commission. And that's it. Those are our 2 points. And I conclude with that.
Okay, thank you. Can we call the next speaker? Yes, John Allison. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you give now before this commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. My name is John Allison. I live at 1435 Fairlands Drive, City of Diamond Bar. My home occupation. My cars right up on it. I have a wonderful view of a beautiful and pristine location. And I'd like to keep it as such, and I'm a little disappointed in how the process is going forward with this thing. The lack of notification is one thing. I don't think that we have all that by the postcard point of thing. I get these postcards in my mail all the time. I just started having them. I prefer maybe something a little heavy or something that can really outline what's going on here. You might tell you somebody's going to catch your lifestyle. Want to change the value of the residence, and want to do this in your backyard, and it's just really a shame. I would like to also indicate that this virtual meeting that you can assigned to, especially today with regard to time limit all, the virtual meetings are not, in my opinion, I think the word that I prefer, the public meetings, which were stipulated in the 30-day amendment and by Dr. Chou, that require a meeting in the evening, public meeting in the evening as opposed to a meeting in the morning, such as this is. It was good because the opportunity to work and have no say. Personally, as I went acquiring signatures from people around the neighborhood, they were completely at odds with the ability to get on the virtual process in the first place. I think that maybe moving forward, keeping the people on the way of proceeding. I also would like to say that all the people here, or not all the people, a good portion of people here don't have an understanding of what the process is all about. And should be conducted in a public forum, and enough feedback to ensure the process doesn't move forward. I have no more to add.
Thank you. Can we call the next speaker, please? Actually, before we do this, Tate, how many more speakers remain?
Yes, we have 7 additional speakers.
Okay, thank you. Folks, we'll take those remaining speakers and then we're going to take a 5-minute break after that. So let's call the next speaker.
Vilma Takami, do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you give now before this commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please begin with your name and your 2 minutes.
Yes, my name is Vilma Takamine, and I have lived here for 30 years. My address is 1277 Tierra Luna, and I live about half a mile east of the main building at Royal Vista, and across the street from the golf course on Colima Road. Like many of the previous speakers, I am very concerned with the traffic that this project would bring. So I strongly oppose the proposed development. As it is, the traffic on the 60 and 57 freeways are very congested, and whenever there's an accident, everybody gets off the freeway and they go on Colima Road, which makes it unbearable, so you can't go anywhere. And also, I am very concerned with the wildlife on the golf course, that it's going to impact, and like many of my neighbors, we enjoy the golf course, and after hours when it is closed, there's a place where we can go and walk and take our dogs for a walk, and it's something that we wouldn't want to not have in our lives anymore. And also the noise pollution and the air pollution that this project would bring to our neighborhood would not be good. I have a lot of senior citizen neighbors that are also opposed to the project. And about the meeting, I would rather have an in-person meeting, maybe in the evenings, a place where maybe we can have a limit of people, and that I think that would be a very good thing to do especially for our senior residents. And yes, I've lived here for 30 years, so the golf course has been a part of my life, and I would be very, very
now before this commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I believe Vale has disconnected.
Thank you. The next speaker is Tian Sha. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you give now before this commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Shaw, if you're here, please unmute yourself. Perhaps, Madam Chair, I can go on to the next speaker and we can return. Yep. Ceasar Ortiz, do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you give now before this commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Please start with your name and leave 2 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Ceasar Ortiz. I'm just hitting my timer right now. I grew up in Walnut. I went to Walnut Elementary, South Point, and Walnut High School. So I basically grew up here. And I live on Fairlands Drive. And in the past 2 years, there's homes that were built. They're built behind my home. They're newer homes. They're like this type of cookie cutter homes that want to be developed in that Royal Vista Golf Course area. And I've noticed coyotes are coming down. And recently I saw a coyote like at 7 a.m. and around the corner. I got in my car, right? And I saw an older lady walking. And I thought to myself, oh, like, you'll think that coyote jumped into my backyard because we're connected to the backyard. Because had that not happened, what would have happened to that older lady? So I'm a little bit sick right now. And so my point in saying this is, right, of course these coyotes are coming down over here because of the homes that were built that Cynthia Ortiz spoke about that were a hassle to be sold because their prices are so high. So now think about where would these animals go to once this Royal Vista Golf Course is built. So the point that I'm saying is it is affecting the ecosystem, our ecology, everything interacts with one another, our plants, the trees, the animals, us. As much as our animals are impacted, we're impacted. And that golf course is very popular. I have friends that go golfing there. They always invite me. I always decline because it's always busy and you have to book in advance. Also, my parents got married there in 2007. My brother and his wife got married there about 5 years ago. So it's very active. And let me just say one thing. I have 20 seconds left. I'm not going to be sold on a trail. That is not that ideal. We have many other beautiful things, so I'm not sold on trails and that how they were beautifying the homes that are being built there. So I'm complete. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker. Thank you. Charlie Wong, do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you give now before this commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Please begin with your name and you have 2 minutes.
This is Charlie Wong. I live in 1363 Vista Drive in Walnut. My house just adjacent to the golf course. And we enjoy this scenery and when we moved in 18 years ago. And all the previous speakers talked about it. Already said about a lot of ecosystem, the home value and the traffic, big concern. I'd like to bring you the different concern I have is I've been noticed in the past, this golf course is just nearby available empty space for the helicopter emergency landing pad. And I saw people being transported out from the golf course by using the helicopter due to the traffic really bad and things like that. And also the lake in the golf course is providing alternative water source for the helicopter to grab the water out from there to put out the fire nearby. So by getting rid of those areas, the golf course, there is no way for the helicopter to find the Jensen any proper places to landing to transport the illness or to get the water resource. And the last thing I'd like to say is this Rowland High here, Walnut here, is a very, very mature, condensed population already. And why you destroy this by developing this new development, going to destroy the whole ecosystem. So please do not initiate this amendment. Thank you.
Speaker. Thank you. Gary Zhou, Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you give now before this commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Gary Chou, you can unmute on your end to speak. We can move to the next speaker. Thank you. We'll return to Tian Sha. Tian Sha. Thank you, Madam Chair. Those are all the speakers we have signed up.
Thank you. Okay, I had proposed a 5-minute break at this time. Fellow commissioners, would you like to proceed or take that break instead?
Wait.
Proceed, please.
Wait.
You would like to proceed, Commissioner Moon? Okay.
Yes.
Proceed. Okay, terrific. Let's do that then. I think Mr. Tia is ready to comment to us. Ms. Tay, can you swear him in?
Yes. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you give now before this commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Please respond by saying I do. And if you would like to provide your comment in another language, you can also provide that to us.
For sure. 帮我翻译吧，我用中文，我或者让我用中文。
Mr. Chia, we have
我可以让家人帮我说。
I'm sorry, Tian Sha, if you can pause one moment, what I'd like to do is ask the commission to move to the English channel or the interpretation globe, and you will be able to hear the English translation of Tian Sha's comment. So at the bottom of your screen, you should see a globe that says interpretation. If you click on that, you can select English. And once Tian Sha begins the testimony, you will be able to hear the
To comply with regional planning's parameters, this will be non-visual and will be within 2 minutes regarding the Royal Vista Golf Course development. I'm Roy Humphreys, Rowland Heights, 100% for this well-planned development. The human animal is selfish and a creature of habit. The naysayers here do not want to change their habits and say NIMBY, not in my backyard. Nothing lasts forever. California is 9 million houses short. Sacramento has changed housing density laws that double density. This project pales in comparison. These are homes for the homeless. Sweeten the deal. Approve the development contingent upon the developer simultaneously finishing the Fullerton and Fairway underpasses and widening of Fullerton Road, Colima to the 60. The future meetings should be hybrid, virtual, and in person. The naysayers should put this same effort into making Rowland Heights a city for self-determination.